Episode 6 of Furious opens with a flashback to Catherine arriving at a shelter for former sex workers. She speaks to Jean about Elena and asks for help getting her away from Big Man and his brothel. Jean recognises Catherine as Grace and promises to keep her safe despite the FBI alert. Now, while Jean tries to calm Catherine through a panic attack, Alice arrives asking about safe surrender boxes. Alice notices Catherine, who lies about her identity, and the two start making small talk. Alice quickly realises something is off and calls Nora, telling her she may have found Catherine. Nora is pretty shocked by this, but tells Alice not to reveal she's FBI, as that could put her in serious danger. She also tells Alice about Hal's murder and asks her to stall while backup is arranged. Alice asks Nora for an hour as she wants to talk to Catherine and convince her to expose Jay Easton. Meanwhile, Alden makes things difficult for Brank and Danny by refusing to give Catherine up. He even claims he killed Hal himself despite his condition and is taken to the FBI office for questioning. At the shelter, Alice lies to Catherine, saying she's been talking in her sleep and mentioning Isabel's name. Catherine is shaken and steps outside for some air. Alice joins her and the two end up talking in a nearby park. Alice uses her own experience with Marshall to get Catherine to open up, explaining how he used to drag her out of the shower and beat her until she feared he would kill her. Catherine comforts Alice and tells her Jean helped her when she was 16. Now back inside, Jean asks the women at the shelter to shower. Catherine notices Alice's fear and tries to help her through it. Catherine then talks about the first house she ever had and how free she felt living somewhere that was truly hers. She also mentions losing that home after she had to give up her friend's daughter. Now Alice realises she may be talking about Isabel's daughter, which immediately alarms Catherine. Things then fall apart when another woman at the shelter recognises Alice as a cop. Catherine panics and tries to avoid her. Now at the FBI office, Nora finally tells Ed where Catherine is and argues that they should pursue Jay Easton now that they have more evidence. Ed refuses and orders her to back off. Nora calls him out, accusing him of doing the same thing he did years ago, protecting Jay and pressuring her to shut down the Jane Doe case so he can protect his career. However, Ed turns the tables here, removes Nora from the case, brings up her drinking, and tells her to get help. He also calls off the backup team Nora sent to arrest Catherine. So naturally, that's a complete disaster. At the shelter, Alice follows Catherine into the showers with her gun drawn and tells her the police have surrounded the building. However, Alice starts panicking in the showers, for obvious reasons, and Catherine uses the moment to inject her with the drug. She takes Alice's gun and threatens to shoot her, but Alice tries to reason with her, offering to help find out what happened to Isabel and protect Elena from Big Man. Catherine refuses, saying she can't remember what happened because of the severity of her trauma, and she knows the legal system will not help her. Meanwhile, Danny continues questioning Alden, but he refuses to betray Catherine. He says she's the only person who ever looked past his wheelchair and loved him for who he was. Danny suggests Catherine may have murdered Alden's mother for access to her drugs, but even that doesn't break him. Back at the shelter, Catherine realises the police are not coming in and tries to escape. Alice, who's still drugged at this point, follows her outside where Marshall is waiting. He attacks Alice for having him arrested, tackles her and pins her against this car. However, Catherine then appears and shoots Marshall in the side before running away. Alice is pretty shocked and tries to stop Marshall from bleeding out as Ed arrives at the scene. Before leaving the FBI office, Alden tells Danny to collect a flash drive containing the files from Hal's laptop. Alden had managed to recover the data before deleting everything from the device. Danny looks through the drive and finds hundreds of videos showing underage girls being abused by Jay Easton. Then he finds one video that leaves him completely stunned. It shows a young Alice being assaulted by Jay. So episode 6 is a really strong episode, mostly because of the way it brings Alice and Catherine together. Their scenes at the shelter are genuinely heartbreaking because the show makes it clear that they are two sides of the same coin. Both were abused in the past, both were failed, and both are carrying rage from something that was done to them when they were vulnerable. The difference is that Alice is very clearly trying to work within the system and make a difference, while Catherine no longer believes the system can ever help someone like her. She thinks the system has failed completely. So Catherine shooting Marshall also makes sense for her character. She has this intense sensitivity to injustice in a way, and after hearing what Marshall did to Alice, she reacts the same way she reacted to Hal and the men around Jay. That obviously doesn't make her actions right, I mean, she is still a murderer, but it does make her motivations a lot clearer. The Nora and Ed material is interesting too, because it really looks like Ed helped bury the original Jane Doe case to protect Jay Easton. Nora may have been manipulated as a rookie, but now that she's not a rookie anymore, she's starting to understand just how badly she was used. And then there's the final reveal, of course. Now, finding out Alice was also one of Jay's victims completely recontextualizes her connection to this case. This isn't just professional anymore, because it's very clearly deeply personal, and Danny now has the evidence that could blow the entire investigation wide open. Overall, this is one of the strongest episodes of the season so far. It's dark, heavy and uncomfortable, but it ties Alice and Catherine together in a way that makes the central theme of Furious even clearer. These women weren't born furious, they were made that way by the people around them. I just hope that by the time the season rolls round to an end, both characters do go on a consistent arc, which would mean that Catherine faces proper justice rather than something akin to how Jean Grey was handled in Spider-Man Brand New Day. But hey, that's a conversation for another time. In the meantime though, Furious continues to deliver excellent drama. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.